Good evening, everyone, and welcome to East Brunswick Township Council agenda meeting for March 13th, 2023. Will everyone please rise as we salute the flag? We pledge allegiance and then remain standing for a moment of personal reflection. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Township Clerk, will you call roll and read our statement of adequate notice?
Councilmember Hall.
Here.
Councilman Wendell.
Here.
Councilwoman Winston. Here. Councilwoman Zembicki. Here. Council President McAvoy.
Here.
Also present, Mayor Brad Cohen.
Here.
Administrator Joseph Criscuolo.
Here.
And Township Attorney Michael Baker.
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, by specifying the time, date, location, and to the extent known, the agenda, by posting a copy on the bulletin board located in the main lobby of the East Brunswick Municipal Building, providing a copy to the Home News Tribune and Sentinel newspapers, posting a copy on the Township's website, and by filing a copy in the office of the Township Clerk, which will be entered into the minutes.
Thank you. Approval of meeting minutes, Resolution 23-103. Can I have a motion for the resolution to adopt these?
Motion to adopt.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion or clarification? Township Clerk, you call the roll, please.
Councilmember Hall.
Yes.
Councilman Wendell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zembicki.
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy.
Yes, there are no proclamations. We will not be having any presentations at this moment in time. Agenda session, there's nothing new. The second reading, there's nothing there. Mayor Cohen.
Thank you, Council President. A couple of announcements. First of all, you could probably all look around the room here and see that all of the pictures of the mayors have been removed. It's not because they didn't exist here, and we're not trying to erase history. What we are doing is we're looking to put them in frames and have pictures that are all the same size and make it look like a lot more professional than it did before. So our township manager of marketing is a great photographer, and she's going to be putting that together for us, and it'll be a nice representation of all the mayors that when we put it back out in person. So I didn't want you to think that we were erasing history. Also wanted to announce that I know it's still the winter, and I know that there's a supposed nor'easter coming up, but next week we're actually starting on roads. I know that it's always a constant issue in the town here to try to get as many of the road projects done as quickly as possible. We've made a huge commitment over the last 6-7 years to doing that, and it's no different this year. So we've already sent letters out to some of the residents that will be having their roads worked on starting next week, weather permitting. And we also got notice today from the county on the county roads that they're going to be contributing to. And it seems like it's a pretty robust list. There's about close to 10 roads that they are going to be helping contribute their efforts at repaving, which is great. And then finally, what I wanted to make mention of is that the East Brunswick Regional Chamber of Commerce is having a luncheon on March 31st. It's a Thursday at 11 o'clock. They've asked me to speak, and I felt that at this point in time, now that most folks have early begun to see what redevelopment 1.0 looks like on Route 18, and while it's not all done yet, and if it were up to me, it would have been done already, but I can't snap my fingers, and none of us can, even though we'd like it done. But I think people are getting a sense of what it's going to look like. But if you're not already looking at the next phase, if you're not already thinking about redevelopment 2.0, where do we go with this? What are we going to look like when we get past this? Then you're already behind. So the topic of that lecture is going to be redevelopment 2.0. For anyone who might want to to attend, just go onto the website for the East Brunswick Regional Chamber of Commerce. It will be taped. We will put that out as a YouTube through EBTV, and it will be the topic of the next set of town halls that I like to do, because I do believe that hearing from the public and getting out in front of them so that they know what's coming, what we're looking at trying to produce in the years ahead, doesn't come as a shock. To this day, I still get people calling up and asking about, what do you mean redevelopment? What do you do? I mean, you had to work at being that uninformed in order to not know what's going on. It's our role to try to use all forms of media to get that out there. And so look forward to being able to explain what 2.0 looks like. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Sounds like an exciting time for a progressive talk.
Yeah.
And I do like the fact that you're talking about the town halls that were so successful, I think, as we approached the redevelopment phase last time around.
Thank you, Council President.
Mr. Crisculo, our administrator?
Yes, there's just two items this evening. On the consent agenda, you'll see there's a resolution authorizing a change order for the East Brunswick Ice Arena. This came about because, if you remember, we had a subcommittee of members of the community come out, both the hockey community, the rec community, and so on, come out, look at various different things, and they really came up with some great creative ideas to make a place better for each of those types of communities. So it required an expansion to put a second floor on top of where the bathrooms, the locker rooms, and various things are going to be. So a change order for that design is warranted. We need an elevator, we need different movement in the HVAC system, and so on. So the change order there comes out about because of a tremendous amount of work that was done by volunteers in our community that are really interested in coming up with a great facility. This is a once-in-a-lifetime type of project, and it's important to get it right. I've been involved with a rink in a neighboring town, and they got it wrong. So I'm excited that we're going to make it right, and it's going to be the right thing for our residents. So that's that change order, and it is being paid for out of the state grant. If you remember, we got grant money from the state last year for this project, so we'll be able to effectuate that increase for the design with utilizing a part of the state grant money. The second item I wanted to talk about is our honorary resolution for Ms. Sandy Pekulski that's here this evening. I know the mayor is going to read it into the record. I would be remiss if I didn't say it's going to be a lot quieter here without Sandy. But it is nice. She does make her presence known. She has been here for a long time. And I know we read these a lot of times, and even the recipient isn't here. But I look out into the audience today, I see Sandy and her friend Steve and her family. Her 3 children are here, and their significant others, friends, and some of her friends from the senior center as well. And I must honestly say, it was for the last 7 years, it's been a pleasure working with you, and I truly I'm going to miss you, but it will be a lot quieter here. Also, last reminder, this Sunday is the Daisy Breakfast at the Hilton, just to remind people, and it's a fantastic event at the Hilton, and great charity for a great cause, and I'm hoping that everybody in the community can come out and support that event at the Hilton. That's all, Council President.
While I have you, Mr. Crisculo, the original comments you made Were they in reference to Resolution 23-108?
Yes, sir.
Just so that the rest of the council knows, so that that item does not have to be separated, clarification. However, if there is discussion, we can surely,
I'd just like to add to what Mr. Criscuolo was saying.
okay.
When this change order came in, the mayor alerted me to it, and we talked about it. We brought in Mr. Kipp from Planning and Engineering, and we also got the architect on the phone. We checked the amount of work that was currently in place that would have to be redone to facilitate the change in design, and we reviewed all of that with the architect, and they came back with what is a better number than they originally proposed to us. They kind of saw the light from where we were coming from. So
And when you look at the resolution, the numbers does jump off the page at you, and I too, because I sit down with the mayor and discuss the agenda, I got the clarification from the mayor. Maybe Mr. Criscuolo was the Cliff Notes, but and the bottom line is that the skating rink is moving forward, and this is a progressive way in which we're going to be able to accommodate the various groups that are going to be knocking on our door.
Council President, if I may
Please.
just add one more comment. In regard to the negotiations we had on the change order, we also got the design architect to stipulate a much more aggressive timeline than they were originally proposing, to the point that we should have these plans, construction documents in hand by June of this year, so we can go out to bid.
Thank you, Councilman Wendell.
Council President?
Yes, please.
Just one question for anyone who wants to answer. I'm in complete agreement with this, and I'm happy that we're doing it right the first time. That, to me, is the most economic decision that we can make. Do we expect more charges from this architect?
No.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, the question was?
Do we expect more charges from this architect, more change orders? There is no expectation from our previous conversations of any further change orders.
Change orders seem to be part and parcel to construction. Mayor Cohn?
Yeah, Council President, I just wanted to add that this was something that came out of the group of residents that we brought in who either had an interest in hockey, interest in ice skating, interest in figure skating, previous residents who had tried to make the ice skating rink and a hockey team a reality, who are still living in the township and have a lot of experience with the sport. And so it was a community effort at coming up with this, and I know that it fits in with a lot of the things that we had spoken about when we first started to talk about this, which was not only the idea of having the rinks for the sport itself, but to have some community space that was dedicated and set aside for residents and for our growing recreation community and the camps that we provide in the summer, so that people had an opportunity to do other things during times when can't be done outside. You know, weather is not cooperating, it's too hot, or it rains. We now have another venue for Mike to be able to provide for our growing camp programs. So I think it's clearly something that is necessary, and if we tried to do it later, would be probably impossible to do. But if it was possible to do, I can't even imagine what the cost would be to do it at that time. So I'm glad that everybody's putting their 2 cents in and doing it right the first time.
Thank you, Mayor Cohn. And then,
Thank you.
excuse me, and then the bottom line is that it is a utility. And in, hopefully, the first couple of years, we'll see that utility take off. Our attorney, Mr. Baker.
Nothing this week, Council President.
Our township clerk.
I have nothing to report.
Council members with committee or board reports? Council President, if I may, I just want to highlight Resolution 23-111. This is a resolution that was generated out of the redevelopment agency to study a property on Cranberry Road that is currently being looked at for certain uses, and rather than allow certain uses or you know, what it is we want to be able to have a say in what goes there. So, what the agency is asking for this board and this council to do is to just direct this review to the planning board and let the planning board do a study to see if this piece of property fits as an area in need of redevelopment in town.
And that was the second resolution that I, before we got to a separation, we were just going to have a discussion about it, so since it is on the table.
Well, Mr. Baker, would you like to kind of chime in a little bit, or?
Well, the mayor always gets to go first if he wants to.
That property that we're referring to, I'm sorry. The property that you're referring to, which is often very difficult to read as a resident when it says Block 87 lot, you don't know where that is. That's the corner of Cranberry Road and Riders Lane across the street from the Jehovah's Witness church. It was a piece of property that is owned by the Lipinski heirs. The property that sits behind it is open space, and that was decided many years ago. That's not what we're talking about. The property that sits actually right on Cranberry Road is owned by the family, and they could do what they want with it, assuming that it follows the rules that we provide in our zoning laws. The developer who was representing the granddaughter of the Lipinskis came in and wanted to know what type of purposes the town might consider on that spot. They originally wanted to put a gas station and a convenience store. No. We said no. Then they wanted to put in some sort of drive-through fast food restaurant. We said no. Then they said they wanted, how about apartments? And we said, no, we're not going to agree to any apartments until we're finished doing the apartments that we are obligated to build through our fair share housing settlement with fair share housing and the courts. So once we know that those are full, then we can have a conversation about apartments. Then the result is they came back with other uses and settled on what we could agree to, which was a assisted living, a graduated independent assisted memory care type of unit, which goes along with the fact that Cranberry Road is already a medical corridor. They would provide transportation for a lot of the residents to the doctors that are already here. It's not a high volume type of facility where people would be driving in and out regularly a lot during the day, and we thought that that was very reasonable. The owner of the builder who wants to build that has asked the redevelopment agency if we would consider that being designated as an area in need of redevelopment, because no one's living in the house, and if it meets the qualifications, it would allow us to talk to him about some sort of tax incentive to build the property and put in walking trails and paths in the open space area, which would satisfy and help the residents of that facility and is allowable type of usages on public open space property. So I think all in all, it's a win for the developer and it's a win for the township. And the process is what we're asking the township to consider starting at this juncture tonight.
And
Mr. Baker.
Council President, and as far as the process, you can't just snap your fingers and change the zoning. You have to send this to the planning board for study. They will come back with recommendations. Then you can adopt an ordinance and take resolutions to put into effect the recommendations with the planning board. You can disagree with the planning board. You can agree with the planning board. It's a collaborative process.
Hope I didn't open up Pandora's box here by referencing two things that I wanted separate, that we can normally separate, but I think we get better discussion before we get into a separation. Does anyone need to make any comments?
Just to further Mr. Baker's, that's only the first step. Then the second step is to come up with a plan and a design. That gets put forth before the redevelopment agency. The redevelopment agency again recommends a plan to this board, goes to the planning board, then comes back, and then we have to adopt an ordinance if we agree with it. So it is a lengthy process.
Let's move on to our public,
President McAvoy, one,
oh, I beg your pardon.
still a report, thank you. For Recs and Parks.
Yes.
Yeah, I know, we got, so on a lighter note, right? Basketball courts at Bicentennial Park are being worked on. We're eager to have those finished up. March 1st was the first day of registration for the spring and summer programs. It was a booming first day. So if you still need to get your children into those programs, please do so soon. Crystal Springs, we are in desperate need of lifeguards, so please, if you have high school students, it's a great opportunity to build a resume. Leadership skills, working with the public, all awesome things to put on a resume. We're looking at the replacement of the steps at Welsh Park, upgrading lighting at the Township parks is underway, restocking Dallenbach's Lake is something that's also underway. The Tricky Tray at St. Bart's on April 14th is sold out, but they are still accepting raffle baskets for it, so if you can donate, that would be awesome. Save the date for the golf outing on May 18th. There's a photography contest, Ordinary to Extraordinary, that goes until March 31st. The Keller Run is April 15th from 10 to 11 at the Community Arts Center with a rain date of the 16th. That same day, so you could do the Keller Run, you can hang around and do the second annual Fly a Kite event from 11 to 3. On May 11th at the Community Arts Center, there is a World War II Love Stories program that's taking place. The Sustainability Task Force, along with Youth Council, is doing a program on the reduction of plastics on April 22nd, and they're also looking at a green sustainability fashion show at the East Brunswick Square Mall, so that's kind of exciting, right? And our Department of Aging is hosting a St. Patrick's Day party with 150 already signed up, which is absolutely amazing. They've assisted with hundreds of our senior residents for the anchor filing and also the senior freeze application, which goes until October 31st. Right now, you can go online and nominate a friend of the EB Parks and Recreation until May 5th. So that's a great program to nominate somebody that has done great work in our community for Parks and Recreation. And the Blackhawks Lacrosse is hosting an event on May 21st from 12:30 to 3:30 via USA Lacrosse, and everybody that attends gets a free lacrosse stick. And last, the 14th annual My Buddy, My Pal game went off without a hitch. It was a fantastic event, smiles all around, and looking forward to the 14th annual. So thank you.
Yet there are those who say, there's nothing to do in town. Oh, my. Thank you for that report, Councilwoman. And now we can move on to our public, open the floor up to the public. Township Clerk, will you read the public comment statement first, please?
The public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments. In accordance with NJSA 10:4-12A and the East Brunswick Rules of Council, the council asks the public to limit their comments to 5 minutes or less. At the conclusion of the statements or questions from a member of the public, the council president, at his discretion, may choose to respond, not respond, or ask the administration to respond. Thank you.
For those who want to address the chair, please give us your name and your home address, so that if we need to contact you, we can. Does anyone want to speak to the chair? Please.
Hello. My name is Catherine Nguyen. I live on Old Tenant Court. I firstly wanted to thank the council and the mayor, in particular the mayor, for his keen awareness and vigilance of long-term thinking about the township's well-being. In this same topic, I wanted to bring up a concern I had about these. They're thrown everywhere, and most people don't want them. I counted over 50 on a 1.6-mile walk in my neighborhood that were run over by cars in the gutter, about to go in the sewer, and it never stops. The day and age of these being tossed and everybody wanting them is clearly over. A majority of people that I see don't want them. I find them on top of trash cans. I find them thrown into the recycling bin in the plastic wrapper, and I see them just left there on the road or on the curb or wherever. The aim of these people are not very good. I feel that it should be an opt-in service. If we are having a plastic pollution crisis globally, which we are, why are we adding to it with stuff people don't even want, okay? The papers inside, these are trees that are cut down and made into advertisements. If people don't want them, why are we giving them out? If we're lucky, these get recycled, and a majority do not. So that is my main concern. And I'm not trying to take this away from people who want it. If it's an opt-in, those who want it get it, and those who don't, do not. So another way of putting this is however helpful these flyers and newsprints distributed in plastic wrap bundles tossed on the ground are to some, an incredible amount of residents clearly do not want these on their property nor curb. The broad sense of rejection for this product is beyond apparent by the fact that these bundles routinely end up in the sewer, the gutter, the sidewalk, the middle of the street, pulverized by car traffic. Not all residents are clamoring to pick these up. In fact, I see it to be the minority. Many residents are being burdened by this ill-thought-out method of distribution. Because of this, these bundles are compounding both our East Brunswick littering problem and our global plastic pollution crisis. They send a message of profuse litter being normalized, and they clog the sewers as they make their way to an increasing the ocean's plastic pollution. We need to move to an opt-in service for these plastic wrap bundles. It is an unfair burden imposed upon residents when these companies simply assume every citizen wants these thrown on their property. Clearly, it is not the case. The present opt-out service implies that it is okay to prolifically throw questionable material wherever one pleases. This is not reality. These bundles are unwanted trash to many of the citizens. Trash, which is defined by how the recipient views the object, is being thrown on someone's property, and it is a clear litter violation. So I'm requesting that somehow the council, the town, or whomever, make this an opt-in service. They could move to mailboxes, they can move to whatever, but the way it's being done now is inappropriate. Any comments or questions?
Yes, because the chair makes the comments. We will look into this. Just, I would say, if you could stay around through the meeting and then get your phone number, that would be the easiest way for Mr. Crisculo to get back to you.
Okay.
But I cannot promise from this dais that we are moving into opt-in. It sounds like a common sense approach to a number of questions that you have regarding the greening of our community, and their valid points. So
Okay.
they will be looked into. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I can hand this off to whoever, or
We
just
have
hold on to it.
her contact information because she sits on the Sustainability Committee.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Can I
you.
hand this off? It has contact.
No, you can have it.
Right, you can recycle it.
Actually, do me a favor, there's a young man with a white shirt and a jacket on, he's an associate in my office, and he'll be doing the research.
Okay, it has a phone number. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else from the public?
I have an event application, is that now or I don't want to?
This is your opportunity.
Sorry. Hello, everyone. My name is Leanne. I don't live here, but after all of your events, I'm tempted to. I work for
Leanne, what is
LEAD.
your last name?
Leanne Seeley. I work for LEAD, Law Enforcement Against Drugs. We had a carnival here last July, and we are proposing to have it again. We wanted to bump it up to May this time instead of July. I don't know if you remember, at the end of July last year, there was that horrendous heat wave when it was over 100 degrees, and we were open at 1 o'clock to nobody. So we've been working with Brunswick Square Mall, where we had it last year, and we're going to propose to have it again there. We already have received approval from them. They're very much looking forward to it. They brought in over 30,000 people to the mall in the 10-day frame that we were there. They kept track. They luckily had sales go up, which was great for us, great for them, and we are hoping to get your guys' approval to have it again. It's going to be, instead of, like I said, July, it will be for 3 weekends in May. We'll open Friday, May 12th, and it would be open until Sunday. We're going to stay closed Monday and Tuesday, open again Wednesday through Sunday, closed Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday through Monday, which would be May 29th, Memorial Day. We do this model in Paramus at the Westfield Garden State Plaza, and we found that it kind of works easier because Monday and Tuesday are usually a lighter day, especially with the school year still going on. So it'll just be those 3 weekends with the kind of break in between. We also had a few local business vendors last year join us, food vendors, so we're hoping to kind of get more of the community involved with stuff like that. We actually already had Chick-fil-A reach out to be a vendor, which we'd really look forward to. So that's pretty much it. We're really glad for the opportunity to come back. We had a great time, and we hope that you guys will approve it again.
Mr. Crisculo, the application, is that, what's the date for
It's actually
that?
on the agenda this evening, Resolution 106, so if you'd like to wait.
Sure.
You'll get your answer quickly.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public? Please.
Good evening. My name is Mary Pan. I'm at 223 Milltown Road. I'm coming forward to speak to you this evening regarding a concern that I've been hearing about our East Brunswick Public Library. As you know, the library closed on February 24th due to a facilities issue. That's what the statement said on the website. Since then, there has been very little information that's been provided either through the library's website or social media. And I just wanted to let you guys know that I've been hearing from citizens, residents, library users, whether they're in our town or from neighboring towns. They come here to use our library, and if you're not very familiar with some of the library services that are offered, besides obviously the books, our wonderful reference librarians, there's story times that have been canceled over the last 2 weeks, meeting rooms that are used by various organizations, like the TAG, the Teen Action Group. They come and meet. They have not been able to meet. AARP has used the rooms for tax preparation for people who are coming from all over, especially seniors who need the help to organize their papers for tax season. The Friends of the Library meet there. They had a bingo event that had to be canceled this past Friday. Weekly English conversation groups, weekly citizenship classes, weekly computer training classes for people who are seeking jobs and improving job skills. Passport services had to be canceled. People depend on the Wi-Fi. People who don't have computers at home to use come and use the library for the computers. Tutoring by either students or teachers around town for students who may be struggling with their classes. These are just some of the people who are using the library for either their space or for their services. Excuse me. So the sudden closing of the library has not been easy for anyone, obviously, but I feel that it has been disproportionately affecting certain people who don't have access. There was a suggestion that people can use other libraries or maybe go online and use the LMXAC services, which is great for those of us who are perhaps able-bodied, who have cars. But there are people who do not have access to stable transportation who can get them there. And for those who don't have Wi-Fi at home and depend on using the library's Wi-Fi, they can't just use other library services through the LMXAC. So I'm asking if you can prioritize this and allocate whatever resources you can and efforts to get the, asbestos remediated, taken care of, whatever the cleaning is that's necessary.
Please, there's no statement.
Can we let Mrs. Pan finish? Thank you, Mr. Crisculo.
Well, I'm sorry, it's just that there's so little information, so it would be great to get information. And there was an article that was put out by a local paper that did say that there was asbestos. So if that can be cleared up, that there is no asbestos, that would be great if we can receive more information and as to making sure that the library is cleaned up so that it's safe for all the users as well as the staff who are there every day, that it's open to help people. So that's it.
Thank you for your comments.
Okay.
It seemed as if Mrs. Pan was taking us down the road of all the people who were affected by the, there, I'm at a loss for words, by the I don't know. Mr. Criscuolo.
Let the mayor take this, please.
Okay.
Well, first of all, the library comments and the library response was put out in a letter that was very clear and went out to all sources of media, from the TAP to our website, to the library website, to the Home News and Tribune. So I take offense that no information was given to the public, because that couldn't be further from the truth. That's number one. And in that article, if you read it, it was very clear that there was an individual who took product out of the library workspace without permission, sent it in for asbestos testing on her own, and it was negative. That was then followed by a bunch of letters that were sent to probably every agency in New Jersey that you could think of. The Department of Health came out and also took product out of the dumpster without any chain of custody, tested that, and it was negative. And then they had the Department of Health and Department of Labor came in about 2 weeks ago, shut the library down, and did their own testing again. And for a third time, it was negative. There has never been a positive test for asbestos in the library. The reason that we never had anybody even do remediation from the beginning is because our own department looked at the work that was going to be scheduled and looked at the area, and none of the product that was in that area was ever put in when there was asbestos in any of those products. So it didn't come as any surprise that there's no asbestos. I didn't say that in my article. Maureen, who put it in the TAP, simply wrote my article and put it out verbatim. And the article that was in the Home News also didn't say that there was asbestos. Nobody has said there's asbestos but you. There's no asbestos. Right now, we've called in our own specialist to look in, an environmental specialist from Peak Environmental, which is a firm that specializes in this, because the Department of Health had recommended that after the 3 negative tests that we do a remediation cleanup with their recommended contractor. We have chosen not to take that approach because I don't believe, nor does any of our professionals believe, that that is a necessary process. There's no asbestos. So to do a remediation cleanup that will cost over $100,000 and to put the library and close it for probably close to another month is ill-advised if there's no reason to do that. We have a lot of areas in the state that I could probably tell you are areas that we should be worried about environmental problems, but our East Brunswick Public Library isn't one of them. And when they've brought in our specialist, they said there's no reason to do any of the recommendations that the state was making. It's overkill. They've gone in, we've hired ServPro, they did a cleanup. We've retested it. We're waiting for results, which should be in by tomorrow. And like you, I know our residents like the library. You don't need to elaborate, because everybody knows all of the services that they provide. We're as anxious as you are to get it open. But I refuse to let the residents of the township pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for a cleanup that is unnecessary. It is wasting taxpayer dollars, and I won't do it. Now, when the result comes back negative, which I'm hoping it will, that will be a 4th negative test. So please stop going around saying there's asbestos. There's not. The library is expected to open Wednesday.
Thank you for that clarification, Mayor Cohen. Does anyone else want to speak to the chair? Sir.
council. Name is Tom Ingrasani, 58 Deerfield Road. I just reading, I get through the East Brunswick patch also about this thing about asbestos, and it was not true also. I mean, I worked with asbestos, you could cut a 10 by 10 area and still have people work there, only it's confined. It's called asbestos abatement, sorry. But it's when it's confined, there's plaster going around, they gotta wear suits. So, like I said, I heard the negative report, like you're saying. The other thing was, I heard also that Governor Murphy is gonna give the township here some financial aid towards the schools. Is that true?
Exactly how that operates, Tom, is not privy to me. That's a Board of Education issue with regard to that money, and I'm not sure how they're going to be divvying that up or using it in the
Well, I
schools.
read in East Brunswick patch too that they're going to divvy it up to help us put the taxes and whatever for the schools.
I think it's still a wait-and-see issue.
Right. And one other thing was, gee, I forgot. Oh, jeez. What did I say?
We did chat about Central School. Was it Central School you wanted to talk about?
Well, I think we spoke about
yeah,
that with that lane
been
going to
resolved,
central
yep.
schools. If you put exit only for schools, school use only, that might help because it's coming out of there. You got to cross across that divided lane, then go into the oncoming traffic, which is dangerous.
Right.
Because you still got people riding in it. They go into the school that way because it's like an access to a school. If you just put school access only, it might help.
It's in the hands of the public safety
Yeah, right, that's
for an
what you're
examination. Right.
Oh, I know another thing. I was a local 3 electrician in New York. I'll be 55 years in that business, but I retired quite a long time ago. With this skating rink and all the work that's being done in here would be done by union contractors? I mean...
Prevailing range.
Prevailing rate is what...
Prevailing rate.
Right.
So...
I'm sure that the developer is going to do their best to bring in union labor.
That's right, I hope so.
And then the ones who are not will get prevailing
I hope
wages.
so. All right, that's it, thank you.
Thanks for coming. Anyone else wishing to address the chair? We'll close that portion, move on to our honorary resolution, Resolution 23-104. Township Clerk, would you read that, please?
Resolution 23-104, resolution honoring and accepting the retirement of Sandy Pokolsky as Deputy Assessor for the Township of East Brunswick.
Thank you. Before we hear the resolution and probably some comments from the dais, do I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt, a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Could I suggest turning it down so she stays?
That was an attempt at humor, even I chuckled. Mayor Cohen, would you take the lectern and present?
So whereas Sandy Podkolsky submitted written notification to the Township of East Brunswick that she will retire from the Assessor's Office effective April 1st, 2023. And whereas in June of 1985, long time ago, Sandy began her career with the Township of East Brunswick as a part-time clerk typist in the Violations Bureau. She was later transferred to the Assessor's Office as the office clerk and was promoted to senior clerk in June of 1987. Sandy later assumed the position of field assessor in August of 1988 and was promoted to assistant to the assessor in June of 1990, and finally became the deputy tax assessor in October of 2003, a position from which she retires effective April 1st. And whereas throughout her almost 38 years, that doesn't even roll out of my mouth that easily, 38 years of service to the township, she demonstrated exemplary characteristics to the Township of East Brunswick through her work, ethics, dedication, leadership, team spirit, effervescence, They come up with that one. That's a effervescence and enthusiasm to her duties. Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of East Brunswick that Sandy Pekulski's retirement is hereby accepted with an effective date of April 1st, 2023. And be it further resolved by the Mayor and the Township Council of the Township of East Brunswick that they hereby extend their sincere and grateful appreciation to Sandy Pekulski for her almost 38 years of dedication and outstanding service to the Township of East Brunswick. Congratulate her on her well-earned retirement and wish her only happiness and good health in the years to come. Something, on a personal note, I've known you a very, very long time. We've been through a lot of things together, and without any HIPAA violation, because I did get your permission, one of your kids I delivered, so we go back a long time. He looks a lot different.
Yes.
And, but I mean, to the council president's point, 38 years is just a number that's just phenomenal. We don't see that often, and in a world today where we see people come in jobs and leave, and they have resumes where it goes pages because they've changed jobs, to see something like that, to see the loyalty and commitment of somebody to the job they love, and to do it with the enthusiasm and wanting to be here every day, that's just rare. And we do wish you the best on your retirement. We will miss you, even though, Mr. Crisculo just says it's not going to be the same, but he's right. It's not going to be the same.
Thank you.
So
Can I take
the
this
mic's yours.
opportunity to thank you and to thank the Borough Administrator, Township Council, Township staff, including my boss who's in the back of the room, to thank my children for all your support and for being here tonight, my family, Steve, my best friends who are family. I want to thank everyone. It's been a privilege. It's an honor to have worked and served East Brunswick for all these years, and I truly appreciate working with each and every one of you, and I will miss you all because you're like family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, before you leave, maybe there's from the dais. I'm sorry, Mayor Cohen?
Yeah, when we're done, maybe a picture so that they can...
Yes, let's do that.
Sandy, I've known you probably longer than anybody in this room, since we were kids, and you will be sorely missed.
Thank you.
The little conversations we would have, either standing in the parking lot or walking around the building, and that I truly appreciated that. And every time I walked by your office, I'd kind of peek to see if you were in there and stop in and say hello. So, you only live around the corner from me, so I'm sure I'll see you out in the neighborhood now and again. But thank you so much. Dedication to this town is tremendous, and you exemplify that.
I appreciate everything that everyone has said about me. Thanks again. Thank you.
I'll just throw my 2 cents in, Sandy. And I'm speaking from the retired pulpit because I earned my wings as well, and I've been retired now 10 years.
Wow.
I hope that your retired life is going to be the best part of your life. Enjoying the days, sleeping late while getting ready for the adventures ahead. I'm sure you've heard the expression, now the fun begins. Well, it surely is true, the fun does begin now. I hope your retirement brings you the chance to do whatever it is that you always wanted to do but didn't get around to doing it. So thank you for your service and your effervescence, and may God bless you and your family.
Thank you.
Amen.
And then before you leave, we do have just a couple of more items, then we'll take some pics.
Okay.
Is that good?
Thank you. Okay.
Just so if you waited this long, you can. Thank you, Mayor Cohen. We'll move to ordinances for introduction for a public hearing on March 27th, 2023. Township Clerk, will you read ordinance 2309?
We skipped over the consent.
Oh, we need, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah.
Let's move to our consent agenda. Does anyone need anything separated? Get a motion for resolutions 2305, 23105, 23106, 23107, 23108, 23109, 2310, 2311. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Abstain from 23-111 due to personal family issues, and otherwise, yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. And now we can move to our final two ordinances. Ordinance 2309. Township Clerk, can you read, please?
An ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 228 of the Township Zoning Code of the Township of East Brunswick.
Mr. Crisculo, can we have an explanation for the residents?
Sure, this is, probably was an error in codification. I'm sorry. It was probably an error when it was codified. The section of the book should have been 228-17-0, and it was put in there as 17-6 at some point in time. So it's just a minor change where we're deleting the 6 and making it a 0. So it should be 170 instead of 176 in our township code, and this is how you have to effectuate the change.
Clerical error. Thank you, Mr. Crisculo. Discussion from the dais. Township Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. Ordinance 2310. Township Clerk, would you please read this?
Before we proceed, I'm sorry, did we have someone that motion in second for ordinance?
Oh, I beg your pardon, right, did we?
I don't know.
No, can I have?
I'll make a
You got a motion?
I'll make a
Councilman
motion.
Wendell, second. Councilman Behal, thank you. Thank you, Township Clerk.
Okay.
Ordinance 2310.
An ordinance amending Chapter 209, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 13, Schedules, Section 209-62, Schedule 23, Speed Limits of the Code of the Township of East Brunswick to establish a speed limit of 35 miles per hour on Main Street between the southerly township border and Taft Place.
Got a motion?
Move to adopt.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Crisculo.
Yes, if you recall last year, around September, October timeframe, when Mayor Cohen was out doing his town halls, as you said before, we get input from the community, and one of the requests was to look at that roadway, which had a unique speed situation. It went from 35 to 40, back to 35. And the request came in to potentially look at that area, make a consistent speed limit at 35. One of our township engineers completed the study. It did meet the qualifications to warrant the change. So once again, this is to effectuate that change to make it 35 miles an hour from the Spotswood border down. So this is a perfect example where the public can potentially ask us for something. It does take time because we had to do the study, but the laws and the manual on uniform traffic control devices, it met the standard, and we're able to do it. So when this is now put up for its second reading, past 20-day estoppel period, we'll send it to the county. The county had made no comments. We'll then be able to change the signage. This is how government works.
I recall it well. I recall the resident who came up from the President Streets to ask for this, and it's perfect, like you said, I'm echoing what you said, perfect example of how local government works. Comments or discussion from the dais? Township Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're done. You're approved.
Good luck. Hope you have good weather.
There are no
thanks for
add-on
coming.
resolutions, there is no new business for the good of the cause.
Dana has
Council
some.
President?
Yes,
Dana,
Councilwoman.
number 2.
I had the opportunity last week to meet informally with the members of the East Brunswick Arts Coalition Executive Board, and we had some lively conversation about ideas and things that they are doing for East Brunswick. And I promised them I'd come here tonight to remind everyone about the upcoming masquerade ball that they are hosting. This will not be your average sit-down dinner, listen to speeches type of night. This is going to be an immersive experience. They were kind of sharing some of the things that they have planned, and it sounds fantastic. And I'd like to remind everyone that by buying tickets to this fundraiser, you're actually helping them help us. The East Brunswick Arts Coalition funds the Arts Commission, the Historical Society, Playhouse 22, the Human Relations Council, and Museum Corp. And they all provide events to the township, which in other towns, actually the township needs to provide the funding for that, but because they are a 501c3 and they work so diligently and so hard for our township, they provide great programs to us, such as the Harvest Fest, the Indie Arts Film Festival, among countless other events in town. So if you are doing nothing on, which day is it? Saturday, May 20th, please purchase tickets. They are $125 each, but it's for a very good cause. The event will be held at the East Brunswick Community Arts Center, and the proceeds from this event will go directly towards expanding and improving our current arts center. So I hope to see you there.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Okay. Mayor Cohen?
Yeah, I just wanted to also put a little bit of picture on the Arts Coalition. They are going to be the main funding source or to try to raise money for the ultimate expansion of the Community Arts Center. Part of what we're looking to do there is make a formal outdoor stage, and one that would have an awning or something on top of it so people wouldn't have to be worried about sitting out in the rain, a top-notch sound system and lighting system, a wider stage so that we could do a wider array of performances for East Brunswick residents and our surrounding community. A black box theater is in the works, and moving EBTV there so that the building becomes more of a 24-hour building. It just sits out there, really, I think, being underutilized. And the ability of the 501c3 designation allows us to fundraise for that project, so that at the end of the day, we're hoping that the expansion can be done with no need to raise that from property taxes. And the ability for them to do that and have those donations be tax deductible is something that the coalition can do, the township can't. So we're really excited, and this is just the first step in many, but you're going to hear a lot more about the East Brunswick Arts Coalition and that project over the next year. But thank you, Dana.
I have a few. EB Youth Council Color Run and Kite Day, did you reference that? Okay, I don't need to do that one. EBHS drama production of The Wizard of Oz at East Brunswick High School, 7 p.m., March 17th and the 18th. You can nominate a resident as a candidate for the Friends of the Recreation, Parks, and Community and Service Program. Okay, thank you. Third annual Ramadan lighting ceremony.
Yes.
So you?
That's new from me. Monday, March 20th, the Municipal Pond at 7:30 p.m. Annual VFW 5K run. Everybody get their running shorts and everybody's ready to go. July 23rd, go to the VFW to pick up the application. Once again, July 23rd. July 17th at the Majestic Lanes, we are going to be back for our Bowling for Hunger with Assemblyman and Speaker Coughlin. That's the date of July 17th. I want you to put that on your calendar so you're ready to join our 2 or 3 or 4 teams. That's going to go over to Woodbridge Majestic and do some damage. And finally, and most importantly, because I know everyone up on the dais forgot to say this, Daisy Breakfast on the 19th Yes, March 19th, 8 a.m. to noon at the Hilton, $20 for an adult, $5 for children to benefit the Daisy Recreation Program. Get a motion to adjourn?
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone.
I'm sorry?
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day? Okay, we can
those
throw
that
that one in there, too, since Kevin McAvoy does celebrate that one.
And I could note, St. Joseph's Day is March 19th.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Anybody else have some dates in the audience? Just want to throw some dates out? We need some comic relief. Once again, a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Good night, everyone.